Hello, welcome to the webinar from NANB with regards to NANB registration and NCLEX exam. This webinar was last updated February 2024. This presentation is intended to provide you with information on the mandate and role of the Nurses Association of New Brunswick, known throughout this presentation as NANB. We'll also provide an overview for the process for applying for registration with NANB. We'll give you information on writing the National Registration Examination, called the National Council Licensure Examination, or NCLEX. We'll provide temporary registration information. This is the registration that you obtain with NANB while you wait to write and pass the NCLEX. We'll discuss registration renewal, and we'll answer some of the most frequently asked questions. NANB is responsible for regulating the profession of nursing within New Brunswick. The role is to ensure that nurses provide safe, competent, and ethical care. NANB regulates nurses by the following: developing, establishing, and maintaining the standards for registration, assessing applicants for registration against the standards, developing, establishing, and maintaining requirements for ensuring that members of the profession maintain their knowledge, their skills, and their competence, and developing, establishing, and maintaining standards for safe, competent, and ethical practice, and to investigate complaints when the performance falls below expectations. In New Brunswick, the government regulates professions through a system of self-regulation. The term self-regulation is often misunderstood. Some people believe that it means each member of the profession is responsible for regulating themselves. What self-regulation really means is that the members of the profession participate in the regulatory functions. The government created the Nurses Act, which delegates to NANB the authority and responsibility for regulating nurses in New Brunswick. Members of the profession participate in regulation by serving on the board, providing input into the development of policies, and the complaints and discipline process. Under the Nurses Act, only someone who is registered with NANB can legally practice as a nurse within the province of New Brunswick or use the title of RN. The requirements to become registered with NANB include completing the application form and fees, graduating from an approved nursing education program, providing evidence of good character, which includes a criminal record check and references, successful completion of the registration examination, and successful completion of the online jurisprudence module. The application is found online. To access the application form, go to the NANB website, nanb.nb.ca, and under the registration menu, the NB New Grad section provides detailed instructions about the application process and the documents that you will need to submit with your application. The NANB website will provide you with instructions about the forms and fees that must be submitted along with your application form. These include documents to confirm your identification, a criminal record check, and confirmation of your nursing education. If you apply before graduation, the university will provide a list of the students who are expected to be graduating soon. You must arrange for an official transcript to be sent to NANB once you have finished your degree. All applicants for registration with NANB must write and pass the registration examination. The purpose of the registration examination is to confirm that applicants have the required knowledge, skills, and judgment to provide safe, competent, and ethical nursing care at entry to practice. The National Council Licensure Exam, or NCLEX, is developed by the National Council of State Boards of Nursing. This is in collaboration with Canadian regulatory bodies. It is designed to test the entry-level competencies for nurses in Canada. The NCLEX is administered at testing centers operated by Pearson VUE. Pearson VUE operates a temporary test center in Fredericton 3 times a year. The usual times are February, starting in late June and July, and in October. Outside of those times, the NCLEX can be taken at one of Pearson VUE's permanent test centers, with the nearest locations in Bangor, Maine, and Halifax, Nova Scotia. To become eligible to write the NCLEX, Step 1 is to first apply for registration with NANB, or the nursing regulator in another province. Step 2 is to follow the instructions by email for document submission. Step 3, NANB will grant eligibility to write the NCLEX upon successful completion of a nursing education program and other requirements. Step 4, once you are eligible, you will be instructed to register with Pearson VUE, and you will create a web account to pay the fee for the NCLEX. It is very important that you do not register until you receive the email from NANB advising you to do so. Step 5, you will receive a registration acknowledgement email from Pearson VUE. And Step 6, Pearson VUE will issue an authorization to test, also known as an ATT. You may then schedule the NCLEX with Pearson VUE. There are a variety of resources to help applicants understand and prepare for the NCLEX. All of these resources are available in English and in French, and a link may be found on the NANB website. It's important to remember that to be eligible for initial registration in New Brunswick, a candidate must write and pass the NCLEX RN or the OIIQ professional exam within 3 years of completing their nursing program. Candidates who have not yet passed the NCLEX RN or the OIIQ professional exam within 3 years of program completion will be deemed ineligible to write these exams and for initial RN registration. If you require accommodations for testing, you must notify NANB as soon as possible to ensure there will be enough time to make appropriate arrangements. You will be required to submit an application for accommodations along with the supporting documents. NANB will assess your application and communicate to Pearson VUE to arrange for the accommodations that have been approved. Once you have registered for the NCLEX, take some time and review the candidate rules. These rules are found on both the NANB and the NCSBM websites. Take some time, read the rules, and remember things such as arriving 30 minutes before the exam. This allows you adequate time to check in and get prepared. If for some reason you need to cancel or reschedule your exam, please contact Pearson VUE directly, either through the website or by phone, and speak to a candidate services agent. Your request to cancel or reschedule must be received at least 1 business day before the exam. When you register with Pearson VUE, it's very important that you provide them with your legal name exactly as it appears on your government-issued photo ID. As part of the check-in process, Pearson VUE staff will confirm your identity by inspecting your government-issued photo ID. And if the name on your ID doesn't match the name you used to register, you may not be permitted to write the NCLEX. You will also be required to provide your signature, a photo, and a palm vein scan. This is to maintain the security of the exam. In addition to this, the area will be recorded for both audio and video. You will be provided with an erasable noteboard and a marker to use during the exam if required. Exam results are a pass or a fail. NANB will send your exam results as soon as possible by email. You must ensure that NANB has your correct contact information, including email and phone number. For any concerns regarding the testing site, please take the time to fill out the provided survey and any forms at the end of your exam period. Some incidents can be considered, and they can be a reason for appeal. You may be granted a rewrite without having to repay the exam fees. As mentioned before, NANB will send your exam results by email as soon as possible. And once again, please ensure that NANB has your email address as well as your phone number where you can be reached. We will now explore what it means to have a temporary registration within the province of New Brunswick. During your online registration, you will be asked if you have the intention to work as a GN or as an RN in New Brunswick. If you answer yes, you will receive a temporary registration, also known as a TRP, As soon as NANB receives confirmation that you have successfully completed your program of nursing education, and on confirmation from Pearson VUE that you have requested an exam booking to take the NCLEX. After successfully completing the NCLEX, you will then need to pay for your initial registration. If you answer no, you will not be issued a TRP. If the GN wants to write the NCLEX or the Quebec Entry to Practice exam and wants to work in another province, the GN must contact the regulatory body of that province to initiate the registration process with that regulatory body. The TRP in New Brunswick gives you the right to practice as a GN and to use the title of GN for a period of 24 months from the date you completed your nursing program until you pass your NCLEX. You must have a TRP before you can start work as a GN, which includes your work orientation period. With your GN title, you can provide nursing care based on the entry to practice competencies at a beginner level for RNs in New Brunswick. The entry to practice competencies outlines the knowledge, skills, and judgment that the GNs must possess in order to provide safe, competent, and ethical care in New Brunswick. There are limits imposed on the practice of a GN. GNs must not perform delegated medical functions. GNs must not oversee the practice of nursing for RNs or other GNs. GNs must not be responsible for a nursing unit or a nursing facility. GNs must not engage in nursing practice without having access to an RN, so he or she can receive help if needed. And as a GN, you must not accept any work in which you will not be in a position to work in accordance to your scope and meet these requirements. Some important timelines to remember. The temporary permit is good for 2 years. You have 3 years to write and pass the exam from the completion of your nursing program. There are 45 days between writes of the exam. An ATT lasts 90 days, and an application to Pearson VUE is valid for 365 days. We will now review information about registration with NANB. Once you have passed the NCLEX and satisfied all registration requirements, like your criminal record check and the jurisprudence module, you will be eligible to obtain your registration. Once you are registered, you may utilize the title RN, Registered Nurse, or Nurse. Your NANB registration fee includes portions to be paid to the Canadian Nurse Protective Society, the CNPS. CNPS provides liability coverage to help protect you while you practice nursing. NANB registration fees can be found on the NANB website. Different fees apply depending on the time of year and the type of registration you are seeking. If you have not renewed by November 30th, you must not practice nursing until you have a valid registration. If you practice without a valid registration, you may incur unauthorized practice fees as well as late fees. And as a reminder, if you are late registering, late fees will apply. We will now review some frequently asked questions. Students will often ask, I will be moving home soon after my graduation. Can I write the NCLEX in another province? The response is yes. While you are registering with Pearson VUE, you need to indicate where you would like to write the NCLEX exam. You also need to indicate which regulatory body makes you eligible to write your entry to practice exam. Another frequently asked question we get from students, I'm going back to my home province to work after my graduation. Do I still need to get registered here in New Brunswick, even though I'll be registered in my home province? The answer to this is that you must inquire with the regulatory body of the province where you want to be registered. Each province has their own requirements and processes that you will need to comply with. Once registered, you are responsible to educate yourself on your obligations as a nurse. As a nurse, you are always responsible to apply your standards of practice in a safe, competent, and ethical way. NANB has developed a transition to practice toolkit for its members. For more information, please go to our NANB website. Please feel free to contact NANB by email at nanbregistration@nanb.nb.ca. Our office is located at 165 Regent Street in Fredericton, and we're open Monday to Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with the exception of statutory holidays. Our website is www.nanb.nb.ca. This concludes the webinar. Thank you for your time and best of luck with becoming a registered nurse. Thank you.